Hi vinyl community, it's Bill here again, and I hope you're doing very well out there in vinyl community land. This edition, for want of a better word, is a contribution to the thread Top 10 Albums That I Listen to the Most from my collection. I think this was started about 4 weeks ago, maybe more, by Chris at the Long Cut, or maybe it was somebody else, but there's been a huge amount of videos on this subject. Saw Steve Carlson's one, and yeah, he made a good point about the records or the albums that you play in the car when you're doing a commute. So that's an aspect of the selection criteria. I do have a spreadsheet in which I tried to record the number of times that I listen to a certain album. I also have it on my phone when I remember to do it. These things, well, I've been collecting for over 50 years now, so you get spates of, say, in the first decade of collecting, there would be a certain record that would be played and played and played again, primarily because I didn't have many albums in the collection at that time. And then you get to the old favourites, and the other good selection criteria was multiple copies in multiple formats. So albums where you have the CD, maybe the cassette, and the vinyl. I used to have a lot of cassettes that were bootleg cassettes. So I'd borrow the album from the record library and record it, or borrow it from my friends and record it, etc. So yeah, the poor record industry missing it out on all these pounds and dollars that I should have spent. But yeah, that's another story. So I'm going to take a Rob Eisen approach and just quickly show these without too much ado, too much explanation after all that rambling intro. But here goes. So I'm a huge Who fan. So Who Live at Leeds, I think, is almost worn out in vinyl, but I've copied it to cassette when I had a cassette recorder, cassette player in the car rather. And then when I had the CD player, I got this extended version. But yeah, I really like the original track listing from the track bootleg-like vinyl album. And then this one is one that I don't, get the right side, I don't own on vinyl. It comes as part of this Little Feat original album series, but I had this recorded on cassette and played it to death. Sailing Shoes has got, you know, Cold, 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 Willing, and Sailing Shoes, Teenage Nervous Breakdown, etc. All great. And then this is a great collection. This is Frank Sinatra's the original hits albums, and the one that I listen to on repeat is Songs for Swinging Lovers. And it starts off with You Make Me Feel So Young, and it's got I've Got You Under My Skin, Making Whoopee, Too Marvelous for Words, It Happened in Monterey. And then, sticking with the jazz theme, Miles Davis Kinda Blue, the ultimate jazz album. If I want any jazz, this is the one that I will most likely pull out. Then this is maybe another criteria of how often have you listened to this, because look at the state of the sleeve. So I bought this in the early 70s, and I hadn't heard the original, singles or 78s, Jerry Lee Lewis with a whole lot of shaking going on, etc. But this is a fabulous album. Chaz Hodges from Chaz and Dave plays on it. Rory Gallagher, and the Rolling Stones drummer Charlie Watts. We've also got Peter Frampton, and yeah, Klaus Voormann plays bass on this as well. So it's got Bad Moon Rising, Jukebox, Trouble in Mind, which is a great sort of Jerry Lee Lewis country crossover one. Big Boss Man, whole lot of shaking going on, and a rock and roll medley of Good Golly Miss Molly, Long Tall Sally, Jenny Jenny, Tutti Frutti, and whole lot of shaking going on, as well as What Did I Say? Really nice packaging. Then, I've spoken about this one in the past, but really, are we speaking about a side of a record that you play and you go to? And this one is side 3 of the soundtrack to the Stardust film starring David Essex. But I love this, you know, side 3, Carry On by the Hollies, Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, followed by My Generation, The Who, I've Got to Get a Message to You, the Bee Gees, You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers, and then continues going into sort of psychedelic stuff, Eve of Destruction by Barry Maguire, White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, All Along the Watchtower. This was the first time I'd heard Hendrix. And then Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, and then with a little help from my friend Joe Cocker. So a go-to for, what's that, about 10 classic songs. And side 4 is quite good, which has the Stray Cats, which was the band featuring Keith Moon and Dave Edmunds, and they did some standards from the 60s of Need a Shot of Rhythm and Blues, When Will I Be Loved, Some Other Guy, and Let It Be Me. Really good album. Then going back to CDs, now Rolling Stones Stripped. This stayed in my car CD player for about 3 years at least. My wife's a huge Rolling Stones fan. We're wanting them to tour again so we can catch them another time. But this is just fantastic. Opens with Street Fighting Man, and then the Dude Dillons, Like a Rolling Stone. But yeah, they do Robert Johnson's Love in Vain on this, as well as on Angie and Wild Horses. The whole CD from start to finish is a go-to. And then got this on vinyl as well as CD, and again, I actually bought this, the CD version, the weekend before David Bowie sadly passed away. And then I went out to buy Black Star on CD and later got it on vinyl. But this is, I think, one of my first 5 albums that I purchased on vinyl, of course. But yeah, you're not going to read that, but Changes, Life on Mars, Song for Bob Dylan, and Cooks. Great song about welcoming a child into your life. Then, yeah, I should have said in no particular order. This one was constantly on the turntable from about 1977 through to about 83 or so, or even beyond. Steely Dan's Asia, really jazzy feel to this, but it has got Asia, Deacon Blues, Josie, Peg, some great saxophone from Wayne Shorter on this, really fantastic album. And then one more to make it 10, and that's Neil Young's Harvest Moon. Also like some of his earlier stuff, but this is the one that I always reach for. Side 1 of this is wonderful. Unknown Legend, From Hank to Hendrix, You and Me, and the title track, Harvest Moon. Neil Young, what more can you see? What more can you see? So that's me rattled through my top 10 or most listened to records. So hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back again soon for something else. Maybe something called musical statues. Thanks again for watching. Take care. Bye.